Let me, can you see my screen?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can.
Yes, Prabhu, we can see it, but maybe if you go to the default view and start, like, because we're going to do the recitation.
Sorry, Prabhu.
Prabhu, can you hear?
Bhagavate Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chapter 3, Karma Yoga, Text 1. Arjun Uvacha. Jayasi Cheta Karmanaste Mat Buddhi Janardana Tat Kim Karmani Gaurimam Niya Yojasi Keshava.
Arjuna said, O Janardana, O Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruity work?
Text 2. Vyami Shrenya Yakena Buddhi Mokshashve me Tad Ekam Vada Nishchitya Yena Shreyoham Apnuyam.
My intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial for me.
Text 3. Shri Bhagwanu Vacha Lokesmin Dvividhanistha Pura Prokta Manyane Nagha Jnane Yogena Sankhayanam Karma Yogena Yoginam.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical, philosophical speculation, and others by devotional service.
Text 4. Na karmana andharbanam nakshe karmanam purushostute nacha sanyasanada dev eva siddham samarthi gacchati.
Not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection.
Text 5. Nahi kashchit kashnam api jatu tisthate akram krite karyate hi avasha karma sraha prakriti jay gune.
Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the moods of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment.
Text 6. Karmandreyani samya ya aste mansa smaran indriyarthana vibudyatanma mithyashchara cha yuchyate.
One who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender.
Text 7. Yastvi indriyani mansa niyamaya bhate arjuna kamendriye karma yogam ashkata sa vishyasate.
On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by the mind and begins karma yoga in Krishna consciousness, without attachment, he is by far superior.
Text 8. Nityam karu karma tvam karma jayo ye akashmanah sharira yatrapi chate na prashadyetam akarmanah.
Perform your prescribed duty, for doing so is better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work.
Text 9. Yagyartha karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanah tadartha karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara.
Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed, otherwise work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duty for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage.
Text 10. Sahayagya praja srishta purovacha prajapate anena prasvavishya domesha vo astistvashta kamadukka.
In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generation of men and demigods along with sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, "Be thou happy by this yagna sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation."
Text 11. Devana bhavyatena bhavyatyenena te deva bhavyantu vaha prasparam bhavayanta shreyah parma vapasyatha.
The demigods, being pleased by sacrifices, will also please you, and thus, by cooperation between man and demigod, prosperity will reign for all.
Text 12. Ishtan bhogan hivo deva dasya sate yagya bhavitaha tardatam apradhyabhyo yo bhukti stena eva saha.
In charge of the various necessities of life, the demigods, being satisfied by the performance of yagna sacrifice, will supply all necessities to you. But he who enjoys such gift without offering them to the demigod in return is certainly a thief.
Text 13. Yajna shisthashino santo muchyante sarva ki lobha kilbhashaha bhujante teva agam pape ye papajanti atma karnat.
The devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin.
Text 14. Ananda bhavanti bhutani prasyat ana sambandavaha yagyadvati prajyanyo yagya karma sambandavaha.
All living bodies subsist on food, grains which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yagna, sacrifice, and yagna is born of prescribed duties.
Text 15. Karma brahmodhvam vidhi brahmaksharam muddhvam tatsmat sarvagatam brahma nityam yajne prashistam.
Regulated activities are prescribed in the Vedas, and the Vedas are directly manifested from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, the all-pervading transcendence is eternally situated in acts of sacrifice.
Text 16. Evam pravritam chakram nanyu vartayahi yaha aghayurindryo aramo mogham parthasa jivati.
My dear Arjuna, one who doesn't follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice thus established by the Vedas certainly leads a life full of sin. Living only for the satisfaction of the senses, such a person lives in vain.
Text 17. Yasya tam atma ratir eva syad atma triptascha manvasha atmane eva cha sanyukyastas tasye karyam na vidyate.
But for one who takes pleasure in the self, whose human life is one of self-realization, and who is satisfied in the self only, fully satiated, for him there is no duty.
Text 18. Nevam tasya kritana nartho nakritenah kashanah nachasya sarva bhuteshu kaschid artha kaschidavya partha pashriyah.
A self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties, nor has he any reason not to perform such work, nor has he any need to depend on any other living being.
Text 19. Tasmadaktakta statatam karyakram samachara asakto hacharna karma prama prokti purushaha.
Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment, one attains the supreme.
Text 20. Karmanevam hi sasindamastitha jankadayah lokasangam evapi sapasyashna krimato arshahisi.
Kings such as Janaka attained perfection slowly by performance of prescribed duties. Therefore, just for the sake of educating the people in general, you should perform your work.
Text 21. Yad yad acharti shrestasa tad tad evatro janah sayat pramanmanam krute lokastad anyuvartate.
Whatever action a great man performs, common men follow. And whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues.
Text 22. Name prasartita kartavyam trishu lokeshu kishchana nana vapta vapatyatvam varta evam cha karmini.
O son of Pritha, there is no work prescribed for me within all the three planetary systems, nor am I in want of anything, nor have I need to obtain anything, and yet I am engaged in prescribed duties.
Do I go on to up to text 22, right?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Please forgive me for any mistake.
Hare Krishna. So let me go back. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are going to read 3.14. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhava yajna bhavanti parjanyo yajna karma samudbhava. Annad, from grains, bhavanti, grow, Bhutani, material bodies. Parajanyat, from rain. Anna, or food grains. Sambhava, production. Yagya, from the performance of sacrifice. Bhavanti, becomes possible. Parajanya, rain. Yagya, performance of yagya. Karma, prescribed duties. Samudbhava, born of. All living bodies subsist on food grains, which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yagya, sacrifice, and yagya is born of prescribed duties. Purport by His Holiness, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Baladev Vidya Bhushan, a great commentator of the Bhagavad Gita, writes as follows: Ye indriyade angata ya vastitam yagya sarvesham vishnum abhyarchaya tachedam ashnanti tena taddeha yatram sampadayanti te santa sarve varasya yagya purushasya bhakta sarva kilbhisher anadi kala vivirdher atmanubhava prati pan dhaker nikhaler prapir vimuchyante. The Supreme Lord, who is known as Yagya Purusha, or the personal beneficiary of all sacrifices, is the master of all demigods who serve him as the different limbs of the body serve the whole. Demigods like Indra, Chandra, and Varuna are appointed officers who manage material affairs, and the Vedas direct sacrifice to satisfy these demigods so that they may be pleased to supply air, light, and water sufficiently to produce food grains. When Lord Krishna is worshipped, the demigods, who are different limbs of the Lord, are also automatically worshipped. Therefore, there is no separate need to worship the demigods. For this reason, the devotee of the Lord who are in Krishna consciousness offer food to Krishna and then eat, a process which nourishes the body spiritually. By such action, not only are past sinful reactions in the body vanquished, but the body becomes immunized of all contamination of material nature. When there is an epidemic disease like COVID, an antiseptic vaccine protects a person from the attack of such an epidemic. Similarly, food offered to Lord Vishnu, then taken by us, makes us sufficiently resistant to material affection. And one who is accustomed to this practice is called a devotee of the Lord. Therefore, a person in Krishna consciousness who eats only food offered to Krishna can counteract all reactions of past material infections, which are impediments to the progress of self-realization. On the other hand, one who does not do so continues to increase the volume of sinful action and this prepares the next body to resemble hogs and dogs, to suffer the resultant reactions of all sins. The material world is full of contaminations, and one who is immunized by accepting prasadam of the Lord, food offered to Vishnu, is saved from the attack, whereas one who does not do so becomes subjected to contamination. Food grains or vegetables are factually eatables. The human being eats different kinds of food grains, vegetables, fruits, etc. And the animals eat the refuse of the food grains and vegetables, grass, plants, etc. Human beings who are accustomed to eating meat and flesh must also depend on the production of vegetation in order to eat animals. Therefore, ultimately, we have to depend on the production of the field and not on the production of big factories. The field production is due to sufficient rain from the sky, and such rains are controlled by demigods like Indra, sun, moon, etc. And they are all servants of the Lord. The Lord can be satisfied by sacrifices. Therefore, one who cannot perform them will find himself in scarcity. That is the law of nature. Yajna, specifically the Sankirtana Yajna prescribed for this age, must therefore be performed to save us at least from scarcity of food supply. So, looking at the time, I'm going to just go into explaining this verse. Normally we do. Let me offer first of all invoke the auspiciousness by doing the Mangalacharan. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasme Shri Guruve Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhu Bhyayevacha Patitanam Vaishnavebhyo Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Rama Hare Hare. So very beautiful verse, and this is the continuation of from 3.13, where Krishna is saying the importance of sacrifice. So what is the importance of sacrifice? When we do the sacrifice, yajna shishtashina santo muchyante sarva kilbhishe bhungte tev agam papa ye apachante atma karnat. That we need to offer everything to the Lord and then consume ourselves. So make everything as prasad. We do the offering to the Lord, and the remnants we should consume. And that's how we will get rid of our sins. And that's what is explained here, that how we prepare ourselves, how do we exhaust our prarabdha or the karmas from the past life. How do we exhaust? We exhaust by offering things to the Lord, do things as a sacrifice. And here, very nice explanation given for the sacrifice, that how we should do the sacrifice, and what is the best way of doing the sacrifice. So, if
నేను వదిలిపెట్టుకోవాలి బట్ ఐమ్ ఫుల్ ఆఫ్ ఇన్ఫెక్షన్ వద్దు 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 వద్దు
sorry,
Did I
let me
exit?
mute everybody 1 second. Sorry. So how it is explained that how do we perform the sacrifice? In this verse, very nicely explained that how we are dependent, how the entire world, universe is dependent on this sacrifice. And what is this importance of sacrifice for Lord Vishnu, and why should we do sacrifice? So how the chain is there. So the living entities come from the food. Can someone explain to me that how can you say that living entities coming from the food? You can write the message, and any answer, anybody who can answer this. Living entities, how they are coming from the food? I thought the living entities coming, from mother, but where the food comes in? You can unmute yourself if you want to speak. I just want to have an interactive class. Why do we think that living entities come from the food?
Is it because you're saying that living entities cannot exist without food? I don't know
No,
about coming from, because I think we are born from the mother's womb. But what I understand is that for our existence, we need food.
Yes, and also it also means we also come from the food. So that there are two things. One is that our existence, as explained in the purport, that it is dependent on the food, but also we come from the food. So let me explain. So how, when we, like, from the Pitralok, we the living entity, from the Pitralok, or when we fall first time here on the earthly planet, we from the Pitralok, when it rains, then we come through those those raindrops. And from these raindrops, when we come, when it rains, and those rain falls on the earth, and the same earth, when from that earth it goes into the food. And when that food get consumed by the father, or the male person, and that person, then it transfers to the woman. And that's how the soul get transferred from man to woman, and ultimately it is coming from the rain, and from food comes from the rain, and rain comes from the cloud, and the clouds come from yajna. How the clouds comes, how the rain comes, it's from the yajna. And that's what it is as explained. When we pleases the Supreme Lord through the demigods, and we don't, as explained, we don't need to perform separate puja for the demigods or yajna, but the sankirtan yajna, what we are doing, or what we are offering everything to Krishna, ultimately Indra, Chandra, and other demigods get pleased. When they get pleased, they give us plenty of rain. They give us the moonlight for food to be nourished, and you know that the taste comes in the food also through the moonlight. So this is all happening. Krishna is saying in one of the verse, parasparam bhavam. This is a parasparam bhavam, that we are mutually working with the demigods. We are working because they are also part and parcel of the Lord, and we are also part and parcel of the Lord. And Lord is saying in one of the verse that we have to mutually work with each other and not disturb each other. And when we are, it is explained, when we are feeding the belly, so when we are feeding the belly, the food goes to the every limbs, every part of the body. And similarly, when we offer our offerings to the Lord, then the food, the whole we get it all gets distributed to all the demigods. So I think someone has raised the hand. Please, you want to ask something?
Yes, Prabhu. You know, when we say the yagna, for the rains to fall, yagna has to be performed.
Yeah.
And does it mean to say that we do the yagna for all the world? Because there are a lot of people in the world who don't do any yagna in many countries, and the rain still comes to those countries and they still get the food. Maybe there is shortage of food, but the rain falls for everyone.
Yes, and that is happening because still there are yagyas are still going on by us, like a Sankirtana yagya, and many other in India and many other places people are doing yagya. That's why still rains are happening. Otherwise, these all rains will stop, and they will stop one day because people will stop doing the yagya. As long as we are doing the yagya, that's why you will see these rains are coming. But yeah, good question, because
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
I'm just thinking about the question being based on the essence of it would not become fructified unless it is offered to the Lord. It's all right, it's produced for everybody, but if you don't offer before you consume it, it's sin. So that's the key of the question, I think, somehow, because yes, okay, we all are entitled to this production of food. Whoever is praying for us to gain it, Indra gives us the rain, and the sun god and everything, the wind god, whoever is actually helping it to be to grow and produce for us. But the key is, I think, what comes out of the readings you've done is, if it's not offered to the Lord before consuming it, it's waste of time. It's sinful. You're eating sin. Is that right?
Yes, that was the purport of 3.13, and after that it has been gone into the next step, that those yagyas has to be done. And then in the 3.14, this verse, it explained that yagyas needs to be performed, and yagya is that is also a yagya. Each day we do the yagya. How? We cook food for Krishna and then consume. And Mataji, you're 100% correct that we are, if we don't do that, we are verily eating sins.
Yeah.
And in this purport explain, these, we already accumulated so many sins, and to exhaust those sins properly, we should do yagya. We should, while we're doing our activities, we offer everything to the Lord. It's not only food, it's the job what we are doing, we should offer to the Lord. The fruits of those labor also should be offered to the Lord. That's how we purify ourselves. But otherwise, it is explained in the purport that we will be building so many new lives in future. It's written as hogs and dogs body we might get in future, because the way we are accumulating the sins, as you mentioned, Mataji. So you're right, there is a connection between 3.13 and 14. In 14 it is explained that how this yagyas are connected to the for the benefit of the entire world. That is a point. And yes, if you see that I'm just reading one comment, in the places where there is a drought, does it mean the yagyas are not done in these places? Yes, that where you have a drought, where we have these disturbances at different places, is not exactly the same place, but people who are suffering in that place. And sometimes even sadhus also suffer in that drought, or in any cyclone or anything. But if you see that how this law of karma works, we have to pay off our sinful activities what we have performed in past life. Whether I am in a pure I'm a proper Krishna consciousness or not, but I still have to get rid of my bag from the past life. And when these droughts and cyclones and all the tsunamis are coming, that means this is a very good indication of that we are not performing yagyas properly. We are not, our demigods or even our earth is not pleased. Mother Earth, imagine how we are drilling into the chest of Mother Earth, extracting all this petrol, diesel, or minerals. We are extracting and extracting. And when this cyclone and all these things come in our life, or earthquake comes, we say, oh, why this is happening? Scientists may say different reasons, but they don't have actual idea that why these different look at America, look at different China, sometime in India, you will see so many of these calamities because of the way we are living our life. Most of the human society, they are exploiting the nature. And some people have this green word and all that. This is all coming from that. People are now realizing that somebody is retaliating, somebody is not happy. And why not happy? As I said, Krishna is saying parasparam bhavam, but there's no parasparam bhavam. We, as a human race, we are very selfish. We are being more selfish. We want to just have a good life, good sense gratification. We don't want to even think about Mother Earth. We don't even think that we are stepping on her every morning. We get up from our bed and we step on her. We never ever say thank you, and we don't even learn from her that how much she is tolerating our nonsense. I hope it's making sense. But the point is that we don't have to, very nice point here is, we don't have to go and please all the demigods. But if we live our life with the following the proper religion, like there is a kama, there's artha, there is a dharma, and then moksha. So there is a kam, that sense gratification. Then you have a artha, that economic development. If these two things are not done in the third way, that is the dharmic way, that means we are doing all adharma. And that Krishna is not recommending. So at least Krishna is saying you live a dharmic life. Then in this verse, there's a part of moksha as well. That is the fourth thing which we should focus on. Moksha means that that we are above dharma. that we are doing everything for Krishna, and at that transcendental level. So there's a question here: does the law of karma only apply to the individuals, or can it apply to the regions, place too? So this law of karma, I think there's a verse going to come in third chapter. Krishna is saying to Arjuna, Gahana karmano gati, that to understand how the karma and its reaction works, it is very difficult to understand, Arjuna. And imagine that, in a plane, 250 people going, and they all get, and get killed in a plane crash. How would you explain? And that's how you need to understand this, how this law of nature works. That sometimes, you have done some activities as a group, with somebody, like 7 or 8 people have done something really sinful activity, and in the next life, what you will see, these 10 people are grouped somewhere, and they got killed by similar activity. So it is very difficult to explain how this the reaction comes, and how we pay for those reactions, and it is very difficult to explain that how and when we did that sinful activity, and how and when we will get the reaction of that. It is very difficult to understand, and Krishna is saying it's very difficult to explain, Arjuna. So it's better that instead of that, we should have the knowledge that something has happened in my life, it is due to my past life. That is good enough, good realization, and I should live my life in full Krishna consciousness, offer everything, every result to Krishna. It says, Kayena vacha manasa indriyeva buddhi atmana vanushrita subhavat karoti yat yat karo sakalam parasmai narayanayeti samarpayet tat. That kayena vacha, that from your body, kayena vacha, your speech, kayena vacha, manasa, from mind, manasa indriyeva, from your senses, buddhi atmanas, your intelligence, from all these faculties, you buddhi atma vanushrita subhavat, as per your subhav, as per your nature, karoti yat yat, whatever you do, sakalam parasmai, everything, narayana yati samarpayati tat, everything you should offer to Narayan, everything you should offer to Narayan. And that is the perfection of life. And this perfection of life is this Sankirtana Yajna, which has been started by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for the benefit of fallen souls like us, who are engaged in sense gratification. And that is the yajna which is recommended in this Kali Yuga. And that's the yajna we are going to read in, we have read in 3.13, 3.14, 15. This is the importance of yajna, and yajna again and again. Sacrifice. This is the sacrifice what is recommended. So I would stop here and open for any question or comment, or anybody would like to add as per their realization or experience. Please feel free to do so. And I am not qualified to speak on Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam. I'm just sharing what I know and what I'm reading from Srila Prabhupada purport. Please
Hare
unmute
Krishna,
yourself.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
So this gives us the realization that how important it is for us not only to understand this knowledge ourselves, but to share with so many others who are not aware or do not know that they should offer food, they should do this sacrifice.
Yes, Mataji, a really great point. That we should not only follow this, but also tell others to follow. That's how we can make this earthly planet bit better. But there is a fine line that there is something called achar, that is your applying on yourself, and prachar, then telling others. There has to be a fine balance. Sometimes without having a proper achar, we jump into changing other people. And uh, it says that it is so difficult, and we can be honest to ourselves, it is so difficult to change ourselves, and so easy to tell others, do this, do that, do this, do that, I expect this from you, I expect that from you. But when it comes to our habits, our way of working or way of living, it is very difficult. So I think applying on ourselves is very important. If we have a purity, then when we pass that message to other person, it will have really a great effect. So yes, but your point is very valid. That's how Divyanam Prabhu, his team, they are so much engaged in distributing Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and that is exactly the same reason that we have to make people aware of the importance of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, so that people can come out from, as I mentioned, artha and kama, and engage in some religiosity activities first, and then understand that purpose is not limited to the uh, living a dharmic life, but also going beyond that. That is Krishna consciousness.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Following on from the offering of food, it actually specify people who are Krishna conscious, who will get into that dilemma if they don't offer. It doesn't say about the person who doesn't know. I don't think I heard that. Who doesn't know? Would there be sin incurred if they don't know?
Yes, Mataji. Still, they will have sins because people are accumulating sins. Because if you see, everything belongs to Krishna. Everything belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And for example, at your house, everything belongs to you. If I come to your house and just go into your kitchen, take some vegetables, and just leave out, just leave your house. You say, hang on, hello, it's my house. You're coming in, taking the vegetable from my kitchen, not even saying thank you, not even being grateful that you're taking food from me. So that's the situation of uh, even by ignorance, people are doing it. Still, ignorance, is not the excuse that you don't know. When I've done the stealing, is stealing. So people are stealing from the Lord and not even showing that gratitude. And that yajna is kind of, you are showing that gratitude to Krishna. You are showing that you're thankful to Krishna that he has given to you, and you are saying, Krishna, you take it first, you have it first, and then we will have. So that is that is a requirement. And then we will come to the human platform, not bhakti yet, human platform. We should be offering food to Krishna and everybody. And if people are not doing it, knowingly or unknowingly, people are accumulating sins. That's what it mentioned in this purport.
Thank you, Prabhuji. That's very not knowing is, yes, it makes sense what you're saying. But I want to know, can you clarify what yagna means? Is it you're performing this fire sacrifice every day continuously, or is it anything that you perform that is directed to Krishna is a yagna?
everything directed to Krishna is yajna. That yajna is not only fire sacrifice. Fire sacrifice is one of the yajna, and fire sacrifice in this day and age is not practical for us to do the fire sacrifice. That's why this yuga dharma, for this yuga dharma, is the chanting of the holy name is a sacrifice. And that is the yajna is recommended for us. That is called Sankirtana Yajna. So it is said, Krite dhyayate Vishnu, trete yajto makhe, dwapre paricharayato, kalau hari kirtanat. So in Satyug, the Yuga Dharma was the Yuga Dharma was to meditate on Lord Vishnu. And when it came to Treta Yuga, when Lord Ram was there, if you remember, there used to be a lot of yajnas performed. That's why Vishwamitra wanted some help from Lord Ram so that he can help in killing Tarka and her sons. And then Dwapar Yuga, when Krishna came at the end of Dwapar Yuga. But in Dwapar Yuga, this deity worship came. But in Kali Yuga, Hari Kirtanat, the dharma of this yuga is to chant the holy name of the Lord, and that is yajna for us. We don't have to do any fire sacrifice, but we have to chant the holy name and do the kirtan, spread the holy name, and spread the message of Lord Krishna. That is yajna. And also, yajna is that we offer everything to the Lord, as I mentioned about the verse about Kayana Vacha. I hope I have answered your question, Mataji.
Sorry. Yes, very helpful. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Right. Anybody would like to add something or comment? Please feel free to do so. Or any question, please don't hesitate to ask any question. Sorry, there are some question here. In terms of Sankirtana Yajna in 13.2, is it the sacrificing the food offering or more like part of the income, etc.? Sankirtan means song, Yajna means sacrifice. So translation is song sacrifice. Thank you. So yeah, that is a question, very good question. That Sankirtana Yajna, that as I mentioned about this, the Yuga Dharma, every Yuga as in Dharma, and that is Sankirtana Yajna, it is called Sankirtana Yajna, that by chanting, what you are doing, you are invoking the auspiciousness around you for yourself and for other living entities. And that is benefiting everybody. As we mentioned before, that when we are doing these yajna, whether it's a Sankirtan yajna, that in other yajnas we put the ahuti of the ghee and everything, but here we are putting this, we are by sound vibration, we are sanctifying or purifying this word. And I'm just comparing the fire sacrifice, it purifies the hota word, the people who are doing the yajna and the people who are arranging those yajna for, so they get purified. But with Sankirtan yajna, it's much bigger than that. And that's, yes, Sankirtan means that the chanting of the holy name, and yeah, that's how you spread. So let me read another one. Srila Prabhupada translates yajna as sacrifice. There are many forms of sacrifice. Could you elaborate on in this sacrifice and in many forms? Yeah. So going back to the sacrifice is, there is a Sankirtan yajna mentioned, but when it comes to the offering, what do you offer? So in that fire sacrifice, you offer the ghee. But here we are offering, as I mentioned, through your mind, your senses, whatever we are doing, we are offering to the Lord, going to the work, and as an offering, Lord, I am doing it for you. I am going to work for you. Just being conscious that everything is done by Krishna only. We are just a nimit. We are just Krishna. I am just a nimit. Nimit means that uh, I'm just an instrument in your hand. And he says, Esha Daru Mai Yatha. Narad Muni is saying in the Srimad Bhagavatam 7th canto that we are just a doll in the hand of puppeteer, and that puppeteer is Krishna. We are just a doll in your hand, Krishna. So if we have that kind of bhav, that means everything is getting offered to Krishna. Krishna, you are doing it, and the result also belongs to you. Whether it's is the income or anything comes. So Krishna, please have this. So wherever you have the strongest attachment, sometimes or most of the time we have attachment with our money. If that we are offering to Krishna, that means we are getting rid of that deep attachment with the money. Wherever you have the deep attachment, offer that to Krishna. And that offering means, it can be uh, your hard earning, or it can be you are going to the temple and serving in the temple, or you are distributing Srimad Bhagavatam, or you are chanting attentively. Even that is a yajna, that is also sacrifice. So there is different ways we can offer ourselves to Krishna. So if you have seen that example of uh, Bali Maharaj. So Vaman Dev, there was the appearance of Vaman Dev on this Ekadashi. So Bali Maharaj, when Krishna, there is a Navada Bhakti, the last one is Atma Nivedanam. So the best example is Bali Maharaj. Although born in the demoniac race, but he was a pure devotee of the Lord. How? He showed that how we can offer everything to the Lord. So Krishna wanted to see, if I take another couple of minutes, Krishna, because Bali Maharaj was ruling the entire universe, and Indra was not in control, but at that time the Bali Maharaj had everything. So when Vaman Dev, Krishna in the form of Vaman Dev, when he entered into the arena of Bali Maharaj looking at Vaman Dev, he said, who is this small draft Brahmana, short height, 2.5, 3 feet height? And he said, who is he? He's so brilliant, like a sun. And he started asking, he said, okay, who are you? And how can I serve you? What can I give it to you? Money, wealth, a girl, you want to get married? But he said, no, I don't need that. He said, I just need 3 steps of land. And Bali Maharaj, at that time, he showed that big ego. He said, come on, don't you know who am I? I'm the ruler of this universe, and you are asking me 3-step land. And that is kind of insult for him. And Krishna said, that's what I need from you. I need that your aham, that ego I need. And finally, when if you remember that how Vaman Dev did the first step on this earth, second step, the first step, and the second step when he expanded himself, he he broke the shell of the universe. That was second step. And then Vamandev said, where is the third step? And then Bali Maharaj offered himself. That offering himself is Atma Nivedanam. He offered himself. That was the best sacrifice. And sacrifice can be anything. So this is the sacrifice we're talking about. There are different type of sacrifice. And we need to understand that how we can come to that platform, how we can give everything to Krishna. But we have to start somewhere, starting with whatever I'm cooking, how I'm going to work. Krishna, I'm going to go here, and it's only you are doing through me. I offer the results to you. So gradually we have to build up, but we have to leave this false ego, which is the main thing which is holding us back in this material world. I think we are few minutes over. I'm sorry if I was not able to cover all the questions, but shall we just finish this class, or is that okay? Is this the normal time? We finish at 8:45.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Thank you so much for tolerating me, and I'm sorry if I've misquoted or said more. Thank you so much for listening. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank
Thank
you,
you very
Prabhuji.
much.
Wonderful
class.
class.
Thank you.
Wonderful class.
Hare Krishna. Devyo Namo Namah.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Wonderful
Hare
class.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.